This is Arma Reforger. We're here on Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is something we took a look at on the Series X side of things, and we've been taking a look at on the Series S side of things as well since the game first was available on the console platforms. I thought it would be fun to revisit the Series S side of things. We had done last, I believe, checked it out when it launched with the 1.0 update. They've since added things, adjusted it further, and I thought this would be a good time to take a look at it and talk about it from the Series S perspective. So this is a game where you are, it's basically a bit of a walking sim. Sometimes driving, occasionally if you're lucky, maybe you'll get in a helicopter, like up there. And you are fighting in these large-scale conflicts. This is the core game mode of the game, but there are other modes and ways to play, and we'll talk about that. But essentially you're fighting over locations, resource lines, and trying to cut off your opponents, and that's how you win these large, lengthy battles where you're, fighting with well over 100 players, kind of. Going off against one another as you are attempting to win the day, as to say. I want that vehicle. So there's a couple different ways. Did we run out of resources or something? There's a couple different ways to play this. Not allowed? Or do we run out of resources or something like that? It says we have enough vehicle resources. Yeah. So there's a couple different ways to play. You kind of do the main mode here, but there's also like a cooperative kind of mode where you kind of work together to do objectives. There's one that's a little bit more focused on conflict and battles. It's got mod support, so you might find modded servers that kind of take things out a little bit further and adjust the game, and you can download your own mods, whatever you want to do. There's kind of like managing AI and sort of doing an AI-driven kind of adventure in this game. So you get a lot of choices, and they've added a lot, and I mean a lot, since I first played it. And I think that in itself is kind of impressive. So this is the quality mode, if you weren't aware. So you see in the top right there, we actually have an FPS counter in the game. So it's dynamic 1440p at 30 FPS is the quality mode. It's not the way I would necessarily recommend it, but this is the smoothest way to play it. Then there is a performance mode. So the performance mode is a more aggressive 1440p, and it is attempting to hit 60 FPS. This mode is basically a 50 FPS mode. Sometimes dips to 40. If you're lucky, you might get up to 60, but it's obviously the Series S just can't quite handle it in terms of like performance and stuff like that. So that's basically your options. Like higher frame rates are nice, but yeah, it is a bit of a bummer that we're not getting the smoother frame rate here on the Series S side of things. It's still quite a bit rough, I would say, in my opinion. But yeah, your mileage is going to vary. Is anyone going to drive? Oh, so we're all just leaving me here in this Jeep thing. I just want to ride with the squad. Seriously? Can I just get on the side? Like, I don't care. I just want to ride so we go and, like, fight stuff. I mean, it's kind of stupid to leave the Humvee behind, but whatever. We're totally gonna get shot like this, but it is what it is. Oh, and now we're getting out and dealing with this situation. So it's a very technical game. This is what the next DayZ 2 is going to be built off of this engine and this technology. So if you're a DayZ fan, this is what the future of DayZ is looking like for you. Like, it is better. Like, you can tell it's an improvement upon their existing engine and stuff like that. HDR support, console keyboard mouse support too, I guess I should mention. It's just like Series S is a little bit rougher, honestly. But I still think you can kind of appreciate what they're going for in this one. It's a very tactical game, very mechanical game. You got to manage like your health and your resources, and got to have your bandages. You get shot, and you can get injured, and concussed and all that. So there is like a lot of really in-depth details to this one, and it has improved a lot since the launch of things. Series S, it's still very rough. In my opinion, like, Series X is faring a lot better. Series S, it's just never quite gotten there in terms of, like, getting a smoother performance out of it, fluidity-wise. Unless you lock at 30, but even if locking at 30 with the quality mode, it's still not... It's still not smooth, like, it still drops frames, so it's kind of like... You might as well take the extra performance, I guess? I don't know. As I said, your mileage is going to vary, but it's kind of neat. Like, it is one of those millisims. It's a tactical shooter game. You get a massive environment. There's variants in regards to, like, weathering and stuff like that. And then if you have the mods, that can completely change things up. If you do a server with mods, be prepared for a bit of a download, but you might get something that really changes things up too. And it's kind of like, it's bursts of excitement, it's bursts of conflict. You can spend a lot of time walking, but you might also spend a lot of time being in a battle, depending on the situation. Is that a guy, or is that like a bushback over there? Like I said, your mileage is really going to vary depending on the situation that's happening, what the game is like, the match that you're in. The servers, most of them are laggy. People would be like, oh, you just gotta get a low ping server. It's like, good luck doing that. Yeah, it's just kind of buggy too, and like it's a lot better than it was, for sure. Like, Series S is still not necessarily what I would consider an acceptable level of quality for performance and stuff like that, but I think you might be able to have some fun playing this and seeing what it has to offer. Oh, he's dead there. That's not good. And there's a lot of, like, little fun things to this one, different weapons. There's a lot of potential with this. I think Series S is definitely struggling, but I do believe, like, the game itself, there's something neat here, and I'm a lot more positive about it than I was in prior iterations, but I still do see issues too. Like, the gun shooting in this is, like, abysmal. Like, absolutely, like, abysmal at times. Sometimes it really works, and sometimes it's just not really great. I don't know, like, we tried streaming it too recently, and it was just, like, a lot of moseying around, a lot of walking, and some people get upset about that, but, like, it's really not for everyone. It's something like, if you're into this type of game, it might be a really interesting and unique experience for you. If you're not into it, it's going to be a little harder for you to get fully into what this game has to offer, and it's a lot of your mileage is going to vary. And it's kind of funny too, because I had come in with what I thought was a lot more positive of, like, thoughts on the game. Compared to when I first took a look at this, when I did my Series X video, and people were just complaining like crazy, and I was like, I thought I gave, like, a lot more of a, oh, it's a lot better now kind of opinion thing, but, yeah, people were not having that at all. Like, they have added a lot. Like, this game really, and I'm not even kidding, like, when it first came out, it was pretty bare bones. It was missing a lot of stuff, and it was pretty dead too. There were not many people engaging with this game, and all of a sudden it's really kind of bursted in popularity and interest from people. And that's a lot of why I'm coming back and taking a look at this, is it's like, it's been some time, since I first checked it out, and then checked it out again when it was being developed, and then checked it out when the launch, quote-unquote, of it happened. As that's just things we kind of do in the modern era of gaming, right? Like, something releases, time passes, we come back, we take a look at things, see what they've added to it, and then go from there. That's gaming now, right? So it's like, it's something where you're constantly having to, like, revisit games because they're changing so much, and then even a game like this where it hit its 1.0 update, even then it's changing a lot as well, and that's a big part of it. Gaming is really, really getting to be quite fascinating. Are you a friend? No, maybe not. Kind of hard to tell. And it's just kind of neat, like, how the stuff like this changes in that. It's genuinely fascinating. I wanted to go to Tower de Ux, right? Entree de Ux. Do we have anything closer? No, I don't think so. And you know, the idea of this isn't too bad. I'm definitely willing and open to trying these types of games. You know, I've played quite a few of them in recent years. And I do think it's great that they're coming to console more often. You know, this is this type of thing like a gen ago, literally a gen ago. We wouldn't have games like this. They just would not be available on the platform. So I think it's great that we are starting to see that sort of thing. It's just the quality of your experience is, your mileage is going to vary, and that itself can be a little frustrating. You know, especially if you're on the Series S side of things. We don't have any supply points for vehicles. Great. Because I'm sure if you're playing on Series S, you're wanting a better experience, right? Like, you don't want frame drops all the time. You want something that's relatively smooth. Guess we'll go into the forest and try to defend our guys. I think it just kind of also shows, and I like that Bohemia is really kind of pushing this sort of thing. I don't think anything is really off the cards for current gen console, like ports and stuff like that. Like, if you can get a game that's got all these technical details going on like this one does. And I mean, this is the foundation leading towards Arma 4 and DayZ 2. They obviously need to get this running well and looking good for the current gen. So I don't think anything's really off the table in terms of things being ported, and it's laggy. It is really laggy. Yeah. It's just neat to get experiences like this and see how they kind of run and see how they change over time. And the Series S players, I know they're a lot more, you know, they're down for this kind of thing a lot more than Series X gamers are, but it can just be hard to deal with this kind of stuff when you want something that's like kind of smooth. It's just like, I don't know, I personally feel like it'll impact the experience a bit if things aren't running well for you. Got him. You're welcome, guys. I'm saving the day. Although I don't know how a guy that was that close to our spawn kept killing everyone without getting killed. That, to me, is a little ridiculous. And then there's communication elements, squads that you kind of manage, healing each other, making sure each other's, you know, are fine and stuff like that, and attempting to do, like, little elements such as running radar, and, like, there actually is really detailed depth to this game, and I can see the foundations of where we're eventually getting DayZ out of this, where I'm like, yeah, of course they're layering all those mechanics, and that in itself is going to be really interesting to me. And yeah, I mean, like, it's okay what this is. It's just not something I'm super specifically into, and as I said, like, a lot of it, you're kind of walking, and that, like, you can get situations where there's conflict going on all the time, but you kind of gotta get a little lucky. It is very circumstantial, like whether or not you're gonna like run into people or not run into people, or if you're gonna spawn way out of the way, and whether you're more on the front lines. Like, some of the game, a lot of it is just moving around, doing things, trying to be helpful to your team and progress your goals. And these matches can go on for a long time. I think we played a match relatively from the start during our stream to the end of it, almost, and it was about 2.5 hours or something like that. So, like, you definitely can get time out of it, that's for sure. And you get these, like, light base elements and mechanics. Like, there's some neat stuff in this, like, honestly. It's not quite the fulfilling thing I was kind of hoping Arma would be, but, you know, we've gotten some streams out of it, and it's funny because, like, at launch, I don't even think, like, competition was even working. Like, I don't even think you were able to compete against each other. Like, it was just broken. But, oh, that thing's there? Unbelievable. But, yeah, hey, at least now you can actually, you know, jump in and play this. So there's a sedan there. That would have been cool to drive, something a little bit different. Now you can play this, and it's got basically all of the modes that were missing. I don't know what else they're going to really add to this one. Like, there was a lot of stuff that was not here when this first came out as a, game preview game on console. And they've been adding all that stuff in, and a little bit of something for everyone, right? AI management stuff, which is apparently the bread and butter of Arma. Competitive PvP stuff, which a lot of people are playing, and then they've got the kind of like cooperative modes, and they've got some more like special ops type things. And mostly what I'm saying is they're really getting a lot in this. They've added a lot to it, and then of course they give you the tools as a community to add and do more with it, right? You can mod stuff, anything's missing, you're able to mod it in there. It's also funny because I'm basically just looking at this from a DayZ perspective because I've done so much DayZ over the years. And I'm just getting kind of a bit of a chuckle where I'm kind of like, this is basically just a fancy version of DayZ. They've revamped the engine. The buildings are all the same. The only thing for me is missing is zombies and some of the annoying technical details, which are pain. Where it's like, weathering is killing you and causing problems and stuff like that. But at least I know there's the, at least I know that stuff's over nearby. Go grab the sedan or maybe the Humvee thing. It's just down the road. I wonder if getting rid of the clouds would help at all for performance. It's got some impressive stuff in it. I just don't think the Series S really has what it takes to, really give this one a go. Like, honestly, on the Series X side of things, it's a lot better in terms of quality and all that. If you're wanting to give it a go there. Just Series S, it's a lot harder to recommend gameplay wise, just because of the performance level being so not like it's barely ever 60. Actually, I don't even know if I've even seen it hit 60 yet. Honestly, like I think 59 was like the best we ever had. And if you're doing like competitive shooting and you're adding that in with all the latency stuff and server things, it's just like, it's a nightmare. Oh, let me get in your gun, or we could be like the best of friends. Oh, in the game, day, night, kind of cycles. You're doing the military stuff, and there's a lot of interesting things in this game. Like, honestly, they're very technical details. It's an interesting location. The conflict is kind of, I wouldn't say fascinating, but it's a distinct conflict. And yeah, there's a lot that Arma kind of does well. There's a lot that Arma doesn't really do greatly, and I don't know, it's just a little hard to really get behind this initial Arma offering for console. Oh, wish I would have like run one of them down or something like that. That would have been better, but I am curious to see if Arma 4 is going to be something that is even more capable. Because the whole point of this game is this is a precursor for them to prepare for Arma on consoles when Arma 4 comes out, which is supposed to be an even larger, more intensive experience. If they get it running on Series S, I think that will be a bit of a miracle, as to say. Because I just like the state of it here, I don't know. I just don't see how they're going to achieve that. But I'd love to be surprised. I definitely would. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? I come out here and I try all these games out and I give them chances and stuff and see what they have to offer and talk about them and share them to people. And that's kind of the goal, is just to give you an idea of what the experience is like. Series X, yeah, you can give this a whirl. You might like it. You might enjoy it. Series S, I don't know. If you can get past the hurdles of performance and stuff like that, maybe, but this is the roughest way to kind of experience this game outside of having like a low-end PC and that. And, I mean, it looks okay visually, but it's nothing to like phone home about either on Series S, right? So it's kind of like a double negative whammy, I gotta say. A double negative whammy.